I'm 5'10" and 242 pounds.
I always say this is the biggest I'm ever going to be, and I said that like 20 pounds ago.
A third of Americans are obese, another third is overweight.
Obesity is the biggest threat to the health, welfare, and future of this country.
I've always been overweight.
I've got diabetes.
Sleep apnea, heart disease.
Everything's hurting now.
This is probably going to be the first generation of children who are going to have a shorter life expectancy than their parents.
18% of our children right now are obese.
If we don't now take this as a really urgent national priority, we are all going to pay a really serious price.
Obesity will crush the United States in oblivion.
In the meantime, you've heard of alkaline batteries, but what about alkaline water? Could that be the secret behind this life-changing slimming for one woman? Look at that. A doctor with a very different take on nutrition that seems to be working. Ahead on CNN Live Sunday. In our Fountain of Youth segment today, balancing your body chemistry to lose weight. A top research scientist says most of us take better care of our swimming pools than our bodies. And in his book, The pH Miracle for Weight Loss, he has a different take on nutrition. Author and Dr. Robert Young is joining me now from New York, and we've got lots of before and after pictures to show the folks out there. But Dr. Young, first explain this whole pH balancing thing and what it has to do with losing weight.
Well, the pH miracle and balancing your fluids of the body is of utmost importance because there's some confusion here. It's not that we're overweight, it's that we're over acid. Because our bodies constantly need energy and there's a waste product in energy production, which are acids. If our body doesn't eliminate acids through urination, defecation, perspiration, or respiration, that acid gets parked on our hips, our thighs, our buttocks, our waistline, our breast, or in our brain, and this is what makes us fat. So obesity or overweight is not a fat problem, it's an over-acid problem.
Okay, so balancing the internal pH of your body, how do you do that? It has to do with diet and what we eat?
Well, you do it with what you eat, what you drink, even your thoughts can make you over-acidic. And so it's really important to focus on more alkalizing foods like spinach and parsley or celery.
I have to explain the side panel on the screen. We're listing a bunch of acidic foods. These are the foods you're saying that we should avoid: beef, chicken, dairy products. I mean, those are really the foundation of most people's diets.
Well, the foundation of most people's diet, the standard American diet, is over-acid. And when we're over-acid, this is what makes us sick, tired, and overweight. So animal proteins and dairy products, even the wrong kind of water, acidic water, if we're drinking carbonated water, these are acids that build up in the system, and if not eliminated, they build up in our fatty tissues, in our connective tissues, and it's acid that makes us fat.
Let's show some of the results, okay? I mean,
excellent.
Taking a look at some of these pictures, it's hard to believe that these people lost so much weight by simply making those, well, they're pretty basic choices there.
When you move to a more alkaline diet, you can lose up to a pound a day. And
it's not about calories?
It's not about calories, it's not about protein, it's not about fat, it's not about carbohydrate. It's whether or not the food is alkalizing to the fluids of the body or acidifying to the fluids of the body, because our body is only as healthy as the water it's bathed in.
Hello friends, Pat Boone here. Over the years, I've been very fortunate to be able to travel all over the world. I've been to beautiful places. I've seen lots of amazing things. But when I was at home recently, an old friend called and said he wanted to show me a very interesting product that he thought I'd really like. Well, I told him to come on over. First, let me tell you, I get approached with products all the time. So I'm always skeptical, as many of the products are just not what they're cracked up to be. I've been very conservative over the years. Yep, that's right, conservative. But when I do find something I like, something I think can help millions of others, I speak up and help spread the word. They shared stories about people with gout, people with diabetes, people suffering with acid reflux, and people who were losing weight by just drinking the water. For years, I've been buying bottled water, like so many. I carry it with me in the car, to the gym, to the office. So when he told me that the bottled water I was buying was actually very acidic and not as good for me as I thought, I was curious. I wanted to learn more. He told me about a machine from Japan that he had at his house and how it could change my tap water into really healthy, great tasting water filled with powerful antioxidants, and that a lot of people were feeling a lot better just by drinking different water. Here in the U.S., the adult population, and even more concerning to me, our children, are facing record amounts of obesity and related problems. The human body is made up of about 70% water. And doctors agree most of us just don't drink enough water. The bottled water industry has invested billions of dollars trying to convince us that their water is better than tap. The filter companies tell us that their filters can improve the taste of your tap water. The environmentalists tell us that the plastic water bottles are clogging our landfills. And other studies warn us that the plastic used in some of those bottles may be linked to cancer. It's confusing. So what do you do? Now, there's somebody here today to show you an eye-opening demonstration about the water we drink and this remarkable machine from Japan. His name is Bob Gridelli. Hey, Bobby, thanks for stopping by.
Thank you, Pat.
Why don't you take over?
Great, I will. The next property I'm going to show you of the water is, we're going to go over here and we're going to test these waters for the pH of the water. So pH stands for potential hydrogen. And we have a little chart here where I'm going to show you, and we're going to put a few drops in these waters. And we're going to show whether they are on the acidic side or the alkaline side. So let's go start here with the Dasani water, and we'll use this pH chart here and show. So the Dasani is what? Very acidic. On the acidic side, right? How about the Aquafina? Acidic. Also acidic. How about the Smart Water? A little better, but still acidic, right? How about the Arrowhead Sparkling? Oops. Very acidic. How about the Alive Water? Very acidic. That's why I call it dead water now. How about the Gatorade? Oh, very acidic. Also very acidic. And how about the 7-Up? Very acidic. Bet you didn't know you were drinking so many acidic things, did you? No. How about tap water? So right around neutral, right? So tap water is always going to be neutral to slightly alkaline because it's federally regulated by the government. So besides, you know, the chlorine, the fluorides, they put lye in the water, which is a pH of 14, very alkaline, to raise the pH of our city water, the tap water, because if it were acidic, it would rust the pipes. So I don't think they're concerned about our pipes. They're concerned about the city pipes. So that's why it's always going to be in that range. So let's move on to the Kangen water. Now here's the star of the show. What is the Kangen water? Wow. Very alkaline, right? So with a touch of a button, we can change the alkalinity, and this one is 9.5 pH. So we all know that we should be slightly alkaline, right? Our body, because we're over 75% water. Unfortunately, look what we're drinking today, and the foods we're eating, and the air we're breathing. And so when you drink this water on a regular basis, just think about your bodily fluids, right? Now watch what happens. What did we just do? Just with a little of the water, we neutralize that and raise the pH of the water. We'll go to the Aquafina. Notice. How about the Smart Water? Notice I'm just putting in a little bit, right? So imagine when you're drinking this on a regular basis, what happened to the Arrowhead water? It was struggling, and then it went right back to acidity. That's because it's very acidic. Notice the Alive Water. No change. How about the Gatorade? Also no change. How about the 7-Up? So now we'll go over to the tap water. Notice it changed pretty easily, right? So now when you're drinking this water on a regular basis, that's what it's going to help your body to do to balance your pH. Now, I'm going to take the 7-Up here. Now it's already diluted, right? Watch what happens. Now think about you're drinking this on a regular basis. Watch what happens when we just add a little bit of that. Notice it takes it right back to an acidic state, just with a few drops. If you're drinking these things, ladies, and these are all pretty much in the same range, watch the Kangen water. Wow. We just destroyed the Kangen water with a little bit of diluted soda. If you're drinking sodas, this is right around the pH of about 2.5, which makes it about 50,000 times more acidic if you were starting over here at the neutral point. So that's how acidic it is. And I'm just going to show you real quick. This came from Wellness Magazine. And it says, what does it show the equivalent of soda is? Battery acid. It shows soda equals battery, your battery in your car, the acid level of the battery in your car equivalent to soda. So imagine, if we want to stay on the alkaline side, you definitely don't want to drink anything like this, right? So as you can see now, that's the second property of the water that makes Kangen water so very special and why you want to be hydrating your body on a regular basis. So now I get to show you the third property of the water, which is microclustering of the molecules. And so regular water, like tap water, is about 15 to 20 molecule clusters, whereas Kangen water is about 4 to 6 clusters, so much smaller. And you're going to get to see a visual when I show you that with these green tea bags. And what do you have to normally do to make tea? Heat the water. You have to heat the water. So we're going to take room temperature tap water, and notice what's happening. Nothing. It's not making tea, is it? That's because you have to boil the water to make tea. So we're going to take another tea bag and we're going to take the Kangen water. Notice what happens. What's happening to that tea bag? It's making tea instantly. Watch what happens when I go to pour again. Instant tea, right? The smaller molecules are penetrating the tea bag and drawing the tea out of the tea bag. Okay, let's take one. How about if we go back to tap water? No tea, right? So it's not a magic show, so you understand. It's just the molecules are too big to draw the tea out of there. We'll go back to Kangen water. Notice how it's drawing tea out of the tea bag. And notice this tea bag's still struggling over here, right? So let's take it back over here and let's see if we can get tea out of it. Notice instant tea with the Kangen water. So I think you can understand with the microclustering of the molecules being 4 to 6 clusters, much smaller, how it's drawing the tea out of the tea bag. Now imagine when you're drinking this water on a regular basis, it's hydrating the body better. This water will actually reach the brain in 60 seconds, every part of the skin in 10 minutes. It will penetrate the cells much easier, carry nutrients into the cells, and carry waste products out of the cells. So I think you can see that drinking Kangen water with the negative ORP, right, the alkalinity and the microclustering of the molecules, this should be the water of choice for everybody to drink because it's far superior water and beneficial for the body. Let me talk a little bit about the technology, and so you understand why this is the gold standard and why everybody compares themselves to Enagic. Because what's happening first, the water's first going through a double carbon antibacterial filter where it's filtering the water first. Then it's going through inside of here what we call the engine of this machine. I'm going to show you something that nobody else shows you, especially these other machines, the so-called competition on the market today. Right back here is what is the engine, and this is 7 large platinum-coated medical-grade titanium plates. And the water's passing through these plates, and it's being electrically charged with 230 watts of power. So the two most important parts of ionization are the size, surface area, and quality of these plates, and the electrical current that's happening to the water as it passes through the plates. So remember that, 2 most important qualities when you are looking at an ionizer. The next thing I'm going to show you, well, let's compare a few too. I'm just going to do this because they're never going to show you this. Some of the machines on the market today, the so-called competition, is not going to show you what the inside of their plates look like. Because look at the difference. Look at that. And they call this competition? Look how small they are, you guys. These are so cheaply made. That's why none of the ionizers can really do what this does. And that's why, I'll tell you, there's one thing. The Association of Preventive Medicine for Adult Diseases in Japan, which represents 6,500 doctors, that's why they picked Enagic as the only ionizer that they will endorse. Now I think you get to understand why you don't want to go with anybody else, and this is the golden standard.
Hi, my name is Brian Johnson. I've been personal training for about 17 years. I've got about 30 to 40 clients that I deal with on a daily basis during their nutritional programs. And I've been doing nutritional programs for at least 10 years. And one thing that I've noticed that is realistic for somebody to do, if somebody can drop 2 pounds of body fat in a week, that's fantastic. If you can lose 1% of body fat a week consistently, that's great. And what I have noticed is that I've had actually 6 clients now in about a 2-week span. Some of them drop 7 pounds. Consistently, I've had 5 people drop 7 pounds in 5 days. I mean, I do the nutrition programs, but the only thing that's different between now and what I used to do is the water. I did the whole science project on myself before I turned any of my clients onto any of it, because I wanted to feel, what it felt like, what the differences were, were to explain it to them so they would understand what's going on. And I actually had a lady last week that dropped 9 pounds and 3.5%. And if I was not pinching them myself and monitoring things on a daily basis, I wouldn't believe it, and I did not believe it at first. So I pinched the same person 3 or 4 times, and I said, well, it is what it is. I'm not an idiot. I've done this before. So I had that happen, and then I had 4 more people follow in the same week with the same amount of results. So I was like, okay, it's not coincidence.